What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're going to take a look around the crypto charts right here in front of us. I have the Bitcoin price chart. Of course, we'll take a peek over there at the Ripple XRP price chart and the total altcoin market cap. Yesterday, I didn't put out a video. I did announce that over on my Twitter page that I will be away from my computer for most of the day, so there won't be a video, but we'll be back at it tomorrow. I was doing a ton of driving yesterday, so I just didn't have time to. I was hoping that I'd be able to put something out before I went and did it, but the time frame for all of that got pushed up, so I didn't end up getting to put a video out. But anyway, we're back. Prices remained relatively flat during that time, so it's not like we missed out on a whole lot. But let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with Bitcoin right now. So right now there's a lot of concern on whether or not Bitcoin's going to break much lower, Bitcoin's going to break any higher. Right now there's just kind of a uneasy feeling going on in cryptocurrencies right now and whether or not it's going to break any lower. My personal opinion is that this bull run is not done. One thing we talked about in the bear market so much was that on the way up, people will get shaken out. The fear doesn't disappear just because you're in a bull market. The more prices go up, the more they come down, the more they go up, the more they come down. People still get shaken out, and fear doesn't change. Fear will always be there in this market, regardless of how high these prices get. As for me, I'm just sitting here patiently waiting to see what Bitcoin's going to do, because like we've been discussing over the last week or two, is that, well, we're getting really close to that time period of where we could see that alt season just completely explode. In the last video, I pointed out whenever we had the corrections, and then you were able to see alt season kind of take off pretty quickly. If this is the dip, then we would see the altcoins take off relatively quickly pretty soon once Bitcoin starts to recover. If it's not the dip, the one that usually leads into an alt season after Bitcoin's gone parabolic, then we'll still see a lot of these altcoins remain relatively flat. And now when I say relatively flat, that still means that they could go up 100%. And I know for most people, 100% sounds like, wow, that's a huge amount. But based on what we've seen previously through different alt seasons in the cryptocurrency market, we've seen these altcoins go up sometimes thousands of percents. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about when it comes to an altcoin season. So just because it goes up 100% doesn't necessarily mean it's actually in the alt season yet. But right now, I'm kind of 50-50 on what's happening with Bitcoin right here. We've talked about crashing structures several times over the last 2 weeks, how you have these little things, then you get 1 through 5, roll back up. Whether or not it's going to come back down here and set some type of new low down here in this level, or if it's done already and it's going to keep going up. I could see either scenario playing out. For me, I'm not too interested on how it's going to react just in this short time frame. I look at the much bigger picture, and that's how I have looked at this thing from the very beginning. I'm not doing any type of day trading. The only type of trading I would end up doing in this market is if I'm doing any type of market rotation. So if I'm going to sell out of an altcoin that's pumping really hard and I'm going to move it into something that's lagging terribly behind, or if I'm just going to be selling out into US dollars and just putting that money into my pocket. But as for any type of day trading, I'm not doing that. And I'm especially not day trading anything going on here with Bitcoin. But just like with any dip, we do see the fear start to come out. Let me just show you the Fibonacci's and where we're at with Bitcoin in regards to this breakout and potential just a back test of a Fibonacci level, the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement or extension level. So it's not like we've done anything completely crazy causing this thing to break down, and it just actually makes logical sense that we go back and back test a Fibonacci retracement or Fibonacci extension level. So I'm not seeing anything outrageous happening right here. The thing I'm really more looking for is what's going to happen once these prices get a little bit higher, and then do we finally see that big massive pullback that happens that leads us into an alt season after that. But my personal opinion, just a hunch, is that this is not going to be a big crash. It's going to take us significantly lower, and it's most likely, I don't know, 50-50. Either it's going to break up here or it's going to pull back and then go. But everybody wants to have the accurate prediction, right? No, have conviction on what's going to happen on the 1 hour or 4 hour time frame. I just don't know right now. But in the end, my conviction is Bitcoin's still going to continue grinding up higher, and that the top of the Bitcoin bubble is not at 42,000, which we see currently right now. What's interesting about Bitcoin, though, is that it's really one of the first big corrections that we're seeing after breaking out of the all-time high. We haven't seen any really big, this one's at about 28% for Bitcoin. We haven't seen any really big ones since it's broken out into the all-time high. And look how interesting that is that occurs as the total altcoin market cap gets to that 0.702 Fibonacci retracement. Those are those coincidences that you start to see throughout markets, and you start to say, and then here's what happens too, right? So there hasn't been a really big narrative to go along with this one. happen, but sometimes you get them. Sometimes you get narratives that happen. They try to place narratives exactly these things happen. You'll see like a news event, or you'll see something happen, and you'll say, "Oh my gosh, how could all of those things line up so perfectly?" And then a news event gets dropped. That's when your complete life changes. So right now we didn't get that, but you could see how the total altcoin market cap reached out to 0.702, turned around on itself at that exact same time as Bitcoin turned around on itself. And then let's say we had some monstrous catastrophic news inserted at that exact same time. That would be crazy, right? But we see that kind of stuff all the time. Fortunately, I don't see anything like that going on this time, but we do see that stuff all the time. When you see too many coincidences kind of line up together and then boom, insert news, you kind of just say, what? No way. And then for those who are new to this channel and understanding 0.702, it's something I have focused on so much throughout this channel and on my course as well, is that you don't actually have a 0.702 Fibonacci retracement level in a standard Fibonacci. You just have the 618 and the 786, but the halfway point between the two is 0.702. So I insert it myself just down here, 0.702, and hit the check mark, hit OK, and then you've got it entered in there. But either way, let's head back over to Bitcoin. Right now, it's kind of just a pause and wait and see moment for me right now. When we put a Fibonacci retracement just on this level, right? So let's pretend that we are going to go lower, right? Typically, if we're going to go lower than this, you're going to have your typical ABC structure. So A, B, and then C come down lower. If it's going to continue crashing and crashing and crashing, which it goes much deeper than this. So like I see a lot of people drawing head and shoulders out here right now. If we're going to have a head and shoulders or something like that, usually you're going to get back up into this retracement level first before you do that. So you'd get up into about 38,500, then go on to break down really low if it's going to go that low. My opinion is it's probably not going to, but if it is going to, that's what you would see. You would usually see a retracement higher. So I could see this thing actually continuing just a typical crash structure, which goes down here first, which would mean it's not a head and shoulders and it's going to reverse on itself and continue higher. But either way, like I say, we're in a pause and wait and see. Are we going to come down here? And then after that, that's the end of the correction. And we had our 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, roll back up to 4, and then come back and set a new low. And then that's the complete end of this correction, and off and up and away we go. Or are we going to see a retracement back up to here to where it's going to go even lower? There's a lot of things going on in here right now. And the first thing we have to do is just wait and let it choose a direction at this point. But for right now, when you zoom out on it and just take a peek at it, it's not doing anything outrageous right now. If anything, it's just back testing a Fibonacci extension level, and it's a no action zone for me. So I'm not doing anything here. I'm still just holding. As for XRP, over the last 2 weeks, we've talked about this crashing structure as well, right? So you can imagine that Bitcoin would be somewhere like right in here if it was doing something similar to this, that Bitcoin's actually somewhere around right in this level right here. And there's one more little push. If it is doing the same thing, we can go back and look at how this entire grind has led all the way up here. We haven't seen that type of a deep correction or that type of a crash at any point. And at every one of these lows, people thought the thing was going to keep breaking down, and you could, draw a head and shoulders on all of them. And eventually it just didn't create head and shoulders and kept on grinding up. My opinion of it being a head and shoulders, if we're going to get a head and shoulders complete breakdown, the first shoulder of it would actually be that alt season stuff. So if we're going to, let's pretend that we are making a head and shoulders up here, this would actually be the shoulder. This wouldn't actually be the head. And the confirmation of that would be if we broke up and alt season went, then it would probably be like, all right, we're getting really close to the end of Bitcoin here. But time will tell on that. Back to XRP, it's like we went through and showed at this point with how much it's broken, right? It's completely lost anything it was doing in 2017. It completely lost it. So we lost 2 years worth of structures happening over here on XRP. With all the things going on with Ripple and with the SEC at this point, it's kind of just a wait and see for alt season at this point for XRP, in my opinion. Any type of flip switching or any of that kind of stuff, or maybe the SEC just delivers a surprise news event. I can't predict when the SEC is going to make any type of announcement or any kind of deal is going to be reached between Ripple and between the SEC. One thing we showed this week and last week is that XRP is so undervalued compared to the rest of the market. If it was fairly priced right now, an XRP would be worth about $2. $2. That's how stretched down XRP is compared to Ethereum, compared to the total altcoin market cap. If XRP was fairly priced within this market in its current state, with Bitcoin being at $35,000, with the total altcoin market cap being where it is, a fair XRP price right now would be about $2. So, as from an undervalued standpoint, it's absolutely undervalued, but it's got priced in a lot of the issues that are going on with it as well, right? The thing we know is it has followed a standard crashing formation. It found its bottom. It's down there at 17 cents. Now it's just a wait and see for a complete liftoff. I don't think this thing is going to go any lower than that 17 cents. I think that was the absolute rock bottom for it. Whether or not these fractals are going to matter anymore at this point, it's a big question because of the fact that we lost 2 years worth of them with that whole move, with that news event. We lost 2 years worth of fractals. But hey, you know what? Maybe we're just right on the brink of going there, because like we showed earlier, this price level, this $2.30 price level, is a fair market price for XRP compared to the total altcoin market cap. Little ironic, right? That you have that fractal lining up just like that, and the price level it takes you to is the exact price level that would be fair for the rest of the market. Because like we showed, with all the altcoin market combined, with the whole market cap of the altcoins getting up to the 702 Fibonacci retracement, XRP getting up to that 702 Fibonacci retracement gets it right up there in that $2 region. So it'll be interesting to see if that's kind of something that plays out right here, and if there's going to be a complete swing of narrative that's happening here with Ripple and with XRP and with the SEC. And if there is, I mean, you can look at that yourself too. It's like right there. So we'll see. But as for today, the thing I'm going to be watching is I'm going to be keeping my eyes over here on Bitcoin and seeing which direction it's going to be choosing, and whether or not it's going to break up here. If it does break up to the upside, we know where the retracements are. We know that it's got to clear through these levels if it's going to set any new highs. So the big moment really for me has always been that 702. So right there at about 38,500 is where I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Bitcoin to say, okay, Bitcoin, are you getting through there or not? Because if not, then we could be setting ourselves up for that ABC. But again, this is all just theoretical. This is all just me kind of expressing the different scenarios that I've seen many times. So if this level really gets kind of held and suppressed down right there at 38,500, then you still have the open option for something like that playing out, where these prices do actually go much lower. But if it gets through that level, it really kind of cancels out a lot of the chances of that happening. But right now, that's the big thing I'm watching. If we're going to come down lower, that's going to be, my opinion is, that's if it comes lower than here without getting its way up here first, that's it. That's the end of this thing. We're moving on our way up. If it comes up here and it comes up higher, then all eyes are going to be on the retracement level to see that it can actually clear through here, and that it's not creating an ABC correction to go down much deeper. So there's things that need to be watched for me over here on Bitcoin to keep an eye on the rest of the market, because I'm really looking for alt season. I'm really looking to play my cards throughout the alt season, including with XRP during the alt season. And history has always shown that Bitcoin really tells that story. So for me, I'm looking for Bitcoin to keep breaking up higher. My opinion is this is probably not going to be the one, in quotation marks, for the one that triggers alt season to start taking off. But if it is, then we'll see the alts really start to take off really soon. But my opinion is it actually probably comes up even higher before a bigger crash comes, and then our alt season begins. So that's just kind of my opinion. We'll see if any of that plays out to be true, but that's the kind of the way I'm viewing this market right now. One other thing as well, right now we still have a higher low. So I know it may seem like this has been dramatic. We have a 28% fallback here on Bitcoin, but at current times right now, we still have a higher low. So we have higher highs and higher lows, and that hasn't changed yet. So we'll keep an eye on it. Nothing dramatic has changed with Bitcoin, but we're still waiting on it. For me, for my exit plans, for my strategies, and everything that I'm doing in this market, I'm waiting for that alt season to begin. That is, and most likely, in my opinion, going to happen after Bitcoin has a really big crash. But my opinion right now is that this isn't the one. And I think Bitcoin is still going to continue to go on to set even higher highs right now before that ever happens. Whether or not that's that it comes up to 42,500 and then does it, or if it goes up to $55,000 or $60,000, we'll see. But I think that Bitcoin is going to actually set a little bit higher pricing before that bigger move to the downside eventually happens. And as for altcoins like XRP, we might see some volatility that will happen within this region. I don't think it's going to go on to set new lows. I think the lows are in for XRP. We've done enough analysis on this thing at this point to show a crashing structure. I totally believe 17, that's the bottom. volatility may continue up in this range until it finally breaks out. But as for like lower pricing, I'm just not that worried about XRP at this point. I know there's a lot of stuff coming up, right? Today's the 13th. On the 19th is when Coinbase will suspend trading of XRP on its platform. So we're getting to that point now where a lot of these exchanges are starting to suspend trading of XRP. Uphold.com still has it. I'm not affiliated with them, but they are going to continue trading for XRP for US residents. But we've got to kind of get through that moment, right? We've got to get through the 19th of what happens with Coinbase, and then a lot of that stuff's going to be behind us, right? At that point, a lot of that pricing in. That's kind of that last event, I think, really in regards to this whole portion of what's happened with XRP and what's happened with Ripple and the SEC, right? Is that everybody kind of like speculated that, what these exchanges are going to, delist or they're going to suspend trading. Then they came out and announced that they're going to suspend trading. Then we have all had to sit here and wait for this moment to finally come for them to actually suspend all the trading. And then by the 19th, we will have officially had it all happen, right? So that whole portion of bad news will then officially be behind us. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's on the 19th when that happens for Coinbase. But otherwise, pretty tame day over there in the market for Bitcoin and for XRP and for a lot of the altcoins. I mean, there's a couple percentages changes over there for the most part, mostly in the green though, which is nice. Nice to always have a green day, but mostly flat. So not a whole lot to say. We need to see a direction get chosen there with Bitcoin, which will take those altcoins in one direction or the other. So kind of just a wait and see throughout today. Hopefully by tomorrow we have a more clear direction where Bitcoin's not sitting directly in the middle of the range and we can say, okay, we're at the upper boundary of the range. We've got to get through this, or okay, it chose the downside. This is where we're looking to hold. But right now we're just sitting right there kind of in the middle. So we're going to wait for till tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we get some more information and then we could say, boom, we got through that level, or boom, we have to get through this level. So I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. If you'd like, you could check out my website over here. It's bcbacker.com. It's where I do have my course over here. I think it's got 26 videos on it at this point, where I'm kind of deep diving into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, the different altcoin seasons, and tying all that stuff together. And you can kind of get an idea of how my mindset is right now on why I'm looking for a bigger pullback in Bitcoin. I'm looking for the prices to go a little bit higher. I'm looking for the altcoins to kind of follow in line with what they've done in the past. And I go through a lot of that through this course right in here. I did include a lot of new updates last week with progress updates for my personal exit plans and where we're at right now with current pricing. And I did also include another chart in there that I use for managing a lot of different altcoins and keeping an eye on their percentages for me when I'm going to be doing all my rotating and all of my consolidating of my portfolio. So you can check this out over here on bcbacker.com. You can follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe right down here and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.